Most people don't think about death until it's standing right in front of them. But what if avoiding the conversation is the very thing costing families peace, money, and closure? Today, we're sitting down with someone who deals with this reality every single day. Not just death, but the legacy, grief, and the truth of people that, a lot of people aren't ready to hear that truth. So, what's next? Tell you what, let's light it up and let's find out.
I'm searching for real love.
I mean,
Someone to
this
make
this
my
guy,
heart be real love. Hi,
yeah, 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 uh-huh.
Hey, every time I hear the intro, Ken, I'm telling you, different different songs coming to my head that I can remix that joint to.
Well,
This week is "Real Love" by Mary J. Blige.
well, when I made that beat, like I said, I channeled the '90s, and I
Mm-hmm.
and I felt that groove. So we definitely got to put some words to that, and maybe make a full blown song. You never know what Big Ken's gonna be up to because I'm working on a bunch of projects right now. So we might actually
You
do
sing,
that.
you give me that song. I got three singles that will knock it out for you. I'm telling you,
I don't
I'll
know.
have it. I'll have
We'll
it
see.
for you. I'm just
We'll
telling
see.
you, we'll
We'll
make
see.
it
We'll
happen.
see. We'll see.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. All right. No filters, no scripts, just the truth. You tapped into the fire session. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all see, we got a special guest with us today.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
before we jump into the particulars and get into all that business, our special guest today, Dr. Christie K. Welcome back to the fire session because you've been here
Yeah.
before. So how are you feeling today? Mentally, physically, emotionally, you good?
She's family now.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm glad you asked. Thank you for asking. I feel amazing. It's been a very busy year. And
Mm.
so I'm just very grateful that I have energy and I'm taking care of myself, and my staff is doing an amazing job supporting me and the brand.
Okay. Okay.
Dope.
Yep.
That's
It
dope. That's
sounds
dope.
good. Yeah, the staff is amazing. And y'all gonna figure out how Big Ken know the staff is amazing. Cause I got something to tell y'all. I got something to talk
Uh
y'all about.
oh. Uh
But
oh.
before we get into all that, it's good to know that Dr. Christie K is doing good. Benji Banks, the man, the brand. How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing all right, man. No complaints. You know what I'm saying? Doing, as you get older, Ken, you'll figure this out once you get to my age, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, everybody, an old man's talking.
Uh, you start doing, little small little other things like planting gardens and fruit trees and, all that type of stuff. You start doing old folk stuff, going to bed early, you know what I'm talking about? Making sure your water intake is, you know what I'm saying? You start drinking a little bit more water, less soda, you know what I'm talking about? You start eating your fruits and vegetables, you know what I'm saying? You start doing little stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? Conscientiously, you know what I'm saying? I'm at that stage, you know what I'm saying? I'm pushing, close to 50. We're getting there. But yeah, that's where we at, Ken. So we making sure we good. Make sure you take a good load in the morning. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Make sure
hey
you straight.
yo.
All of that good stuff, man. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like you're on your way,
Yeah.
my guy. You're doing good things
Yeah.
for yourself,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
and that's great. We all out here trying to be a little bit more healthier. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? As
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
become more educated, and I
Mm-hmm.
ain't gonna lie to you, man. I cheat a lot. You know what I'm saying? When I say
Ooh. Ooh.
I cheat a lot for
Honey
information.
buns?
For
Oh, I thought you was
information,
gonna say
brother.
you had some honey buns.
Yeah, when you say cheat, people automatically their ears perk up, so I threw that in there. But
Yeah.
what I mean by that is I use Chat GPT a lot, bro. So I have a lot of supplements and stuff that I take. And
Uh-huh.
today I was like, man, there's a lot of supplements and different things. What is the best way to take them? And then I'll say, you know what? Let me ask Chat GPT, put all
Mm-hmm.
these supplements in there. and allow Chat GPT to tell me when and where to take them. And that's
Right.
exactly what happened. And I know that taking some of these supplements is great for you, but let me tell you, people, if you're taking the supplements in the wrong days, wrong time of the day,
Yeah, they're not good for you.
with food, without food, this stuff is fat soluble and some of it's water soluble. You need to pay
Yeah.
attention to that, because taking the supplements and you're not taking them right and at the right time of day ain't doing you no good.
Man, I figured, you know what I'm saying, you was just talking about some honey buns, you know what I'm saying? Because you have an infatuation with the honey bun. So I
I
figured, you
used
know what I'm
to.
saying?
I
I
used
know.
to.
I thought
I
you
used
said, you
to.
know what I'm saying, extra glaze, you know what I'm saying? They got a
Nah,
lemon
nah, nah,
glaze. They
nah,
got
nah,
an
nah, nah.
Oreo
They
honey
do.
bun out now,
Now,
fam.
now I can't lie to you. I did
Uh-oh.
order the wrap snacks, the honey
Ah,
buns, to
ah,
check them out, and I was disappointed. I'm not gonna talk down on the
yeah,
black brand, so
yeah,
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
right.
But I wasn't as excited about tasting the food as I was about getting it.
That's why I'm growing my own food right now
You
because,
gonna
yeah,
grow a honey bun?
man, listen, I'll figure out a way to grow a honey bun. You know what I'm talking about? They throwing everything else. It probably ain't even bread. You know what I'm talking about? But
Hey, you know
before
what? You're right.
before we got on the show, though, Christie K said somebody made a banana pudding pound cake, and it just kind of hit. You hit a quickening, hit your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Like you at the Holy Ghost. You know the stank face and all of that when you're in service. And I just felt that. And sweet potato pound cake and that little pound cake. I just hit your spirit. So I might want to try that.
All
So
right.
I
Well,
did.
we're gonna leave all that to you, man. Your
Yeah,
boy,
yeah.
30 pounds down in the past 6, 7 months. So I'm leaving all that stuff in the past, my guy. Y'all
Listen,
enjoy it.
I listened to my doctor back in November and I lost my 30 pounds. So I'm trying to gain at least 10 of them back.
You go ahead, little fella. You gain it. I ain't trying to gain it no more. All right, y'all. March is Women's History Month, and as we close it out, so we definitely want to celebrate and honor the
Yes.
contributions of the women in our society.
Mhm.
So salute to our very own Trisha Michelle and Dr. Christie K and
Yeah.
all the ladies of the world. Continue to bring forth the greatness. We appreciate y'all. We just want to show y'all a little love.
Facts.
Thank you.
All right, so let's hop right in here and get reacquainted. Dr. Christie, can you tell the people who you are and what you do?
Yes, so I am Christy and born and raised in Dallas, specifically Oak Cliff, Keystone Hampton. Let's
South
pause.
Dallas, Oak
Let's pause
Cliff.
for the
I
Oak Cliff
mean,
people.
that's home. So you know what I'm saying? Anytime somebody say Oak Cliff and you know what I'm saying, you start going down south, that's just home. It just makes you perk up a little bit. That's home.
Absolutely. So born and raised here, went to all Dallas public schools, and then I knew when I was 9 that I wanted to be a mortician. My parents were like, "You are not going straight to mortuary college afterwards." So I went to Hampton University, got my bachelor's in molecular biology. Went to Tennessee State Meharry, got a master's in endocrinology, and then came back, got my mortuary degrees, professor for a couple of years, worked for corporations, and now I own my own corporation.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yes.
Yeah,
Can anything good come out of South Oak Cliff or South Dallas? We
Me.
have it right here. There we go.
yeah. Very, 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 very dope. Y'all, she just summed that up, but that's a lot
Yes,
Yeah.
to
yes.
accomplish, and she's still accomplishing even more. I'm
Right.
telling you, if you follow her on social media, if you don't, then you need to keep up with her travels and the things that she's into, because she's always doing something dope. So it's just dope to see that and witness that and know that I know her. So when people say, "Oh, Christy, the lady who owned Mansfield Funeral Home, that funeral home, man, they so amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, I know you talking about, man. You ain't got to explain it to me because I know her." Yeah.
We go way back.
Yeah.
Facts. All right. So your last interview with us was packed full of gems, right? Very useful information and impactful information. We definitely want to add on to that episode with this episode and continue the conversation. The clip of you discussing that you knew you wanted to be a funeral director as a little kid is a hit, because people see that and they ask, they like, is that true that like she really? I'm like, yes,
Right.
she really knew that she wanted to be in this industry when she was a kid, which was, which is very odd,
Very interesting. Right.
and
Right.
but very interesting at the same time. So so yeah, people really enjoyed that interview and that episode, but they also enjoyed it because of the information that they were able to gain from the conversation that we had. So we just want to continue to have that type of conversation. They ask more questions that we didn't get a chance to ask last time because there's so much to cover. All right.
Yes.
So, audience, if you all will recall in the last episode, possibly, I was joking around and I told Christy, you know what, I'll come and work at the
Right.
funeral home sometime just to get an experience of what's going on. So just said it jokingly because Big Ken be joking all the time, like talk. But
Uh-huh.
Christy extended a real invitation and said, you know what? You can actually come and check us out. You can actually come and work with us. You can actually
Right.
come and enjoy that for yourself. And I was like, oh, are you serious?
Wait,
So
what?
so yeah, she
Hold on.
she invited me
Wait a minute
to
now.
come serve with them. Let me make sure I say it right, to come serve with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done so numerous times, right? So
Yes.
it's been interesting. It's been interesting. I gotta say, I have served with both teams from her Mansfield location and from her Frisco location. She got two locations, y'all. A
Yeah.
Mansfield funeral home. Dope. I'll tell you this. The people that I have worked with, absolutely amazing. Every last one of them.
Black
I'm not
owned, right? All
yes.
black owned, right?
I'm the
Yes.
Yes. I
owner.
like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is the owner. And she is black. So
Yeah,
black
yeah, yeah.
owned.
She black.
Black
She black
woman
owned.
owned. But
Yes.
the people that I have worked with, outstanding. I can't lie to you. Like, when you're working in this industry, the people that you serve, the families, that's the biggest thing that I got out of it, right? During my time while I was serving, because I was able to be an assistance to somebody else, help people. Even just the first day I went, handing out obituaries and holding the door for people as they came in, that type of thing. That's what I like to do, help people. So that was very dope. But I can't lie. Um, you know, there was this one funeral. I'm not gonna go into too much detail because the families and things are out there. But it was a funeral service for a younger guy,
Mhm.
and yeah, that was tough for you, boy. That was tough for you, boy, because as you all know, the audience knows, I have sons, 25 and 21. So with this guy, he was young, so I hadn't had the opportunity to serve in that capacity and to be upfront. Like I was the C team before because I was just handing out obituaries and holding the doors. But in this service, I actually marched up front. I actually marched with the family in, and I was actually standing up front near the casket and actually got a chance to, basically be right there
Mhm.
and to see the emotions and things that the family was going through from that standpoint. It's not the easiest thing, right? So you have to adjust, right?
Right.
And you have to understand why you're there, and you're there as a support, and you're there to assist. So that's what pushed me through. But man, I ain't gonna lie to you, boy, I was struggling for a minute up there. But I got through it, and the team that I worked with that day, amazing people. So yeah, and definitely, hey, they sent me a picture, so I had to throw this picture up there. Look at your boy. Your boy got the, what I'm saying, the whole demeanor down. I got my hands. You know what I'm saying. So I'm just making it do what it do, and I ain't gonna say too much, but that young lady on that picture, outstanding,
Right. Right.
outstanding.
Right.
I'm telling you, like she's a boss for real. She's definitely a boss. I'll tell you that. We talk about that another time. But
Okay.
but I love my experience, and I will continue. I will continue to assist
Right.
and enjoy my experiences serving the people. So I just wanted to talk about that for a minute because she offered the experience, and I actually partook in it, and I will continue. So I appreciate Dr. Christie for allowing me to do that.
Yeah. Can I speak to that though?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say, I've always had the foundation of education, and anybody that's interested in the workings, the inner workings of the business, to come in and see what it's about. And I do that because it helps to dispel myths. It makes people more comfortable with the inevitable. And it allows people to get more in tune with their own mortality.
Right, right.
And so I just want to say, you not only come in, you engage the families. People have talked about you after you've left, asking, who's that big guy that was working, And so I just want to thank you for coming in and, and working with us and serving in excellence from the gate. Like we didn't have to coach you. You came in ready to rock and roll. And I didn't expect anything less. So I just want to thank you for blessing us with your presence.
Right. Christie, I wanted to ask, because in that moment, what type of training do you have to really take people through, or are they like Ken coming in with kind of the demeanor already locked in, or what type of training takes place in that? Because that's an emotional space and everybody can't handle that. So what type of training happens in that space? And then how do you really coach people to kind of keep it together in those moments?
So I developed a certification program where our full-time and part-time individuals have to be Mansfield certified in order to be team leaders. And the reason why I did that is because I have a standard. I've worked for other funeral homes, independent and corporate. And so I've seen both sides. And so I have in my mind from God how I believe things should go. Right. And so I have things laid out. Now, what I have learned over the past 10 years is that you can't take somebody off the street that just wants to come in and make and get a paycheck. Mm-hmm. They have to innately have a heart for service and innately understand how to pivot when you're communicating with grieving people.
Right, right.
And so when I'm blessed with the right people who have that heart and have the tenacity and the will to want to serve with excellence the way that God told me his people should be served, it's a great combination.
Right. Because I can imagine in that space, because being in counseling and coaching people, counseling people, all of that, you're dealing with a lot of emotion. And I know this is why they're living, but you're dealing with the family and your staff is dealing with people in passing in that space. And so I know it gets very, very, very emotional. So I know there has to be some type of innate ability within that person that kind of want to be in that field too as well.
Yeah, it is. It has been very emotional. The older I get and I have more of a point of reference for people's grief,
right,
the harder it has been for me. Like when I started doing this almost 30 years ago,
right,
many people, significant people in my life outside of my great grandmother, but now that I'm almost 50, I've had miscarriages. I've lost all of my grandparents except for one. I've lost cousins. All these deaths that my families are having. I now know what that cry sound feels like. Right. So now that I can relate to what they're going through, I have to tell my staff, hey, I got to take a beat. I will leave and walk around in my garden, feel location, decompress. I'll take the time to cry with my families. We still keep it professional, but we are vulnerable
right,
with our families because they need to know they're not working with robots.
True.
So if this woman has just suddenly lost her husband, I'm sitting there looking at you like, waiting for you to be done crying. That is a business transaction. We are transacting business, but it does not have to feel that way.
Right. It could be a little bit more. It could be a lot more on the service side of it. I'm sure it's kind of where you're leaning at because it's a service, but also it doesn't have to feel like business all the time. I could definitely dig that.
Right.
All right. So again, I appreciate being able to serve with you all, and like I said, I'm looking forward to being able to continue. And maybe one day I too can be Mansfield certified.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. So let's start here with the questions. We want to get this information out there. So But with all the information that is out there, and you can do your Googles, you can find out all this information. So, what's the biggest mistake families still make when somebody passes away? That you see that it's a constant, it's a reoccurring theme. Put it that way.
Yeah. The reoccurring theme is not being prepared. And the myth is that it's just African Americans that are not prepared. It's everybody. It does not matter. Well, I'm not gonna say there is a group of people that I've never come across that have been ill prepared. I'm not gonna call them out, but the groups of people that you think have it together don't.
Right.
So
right.
when people say it's a Black thing or what have you, it's absolutely not. So being ill prepared because people are too afraid to have the conversation. And my goal is to present myself in a way where I don't make people scared to talk to me about the inevitable. I don't walk around in all Black. You'll very rarely see me in dark, dim colors. I'm always smiling. I'm always inviting people into my space because just being a mortician alone makes them scared.
Right.
And so when I don't lead with that, they have to like dig deep and ask me a bunch of questions before I even get to that. But by the time they get to that, they're so comfortable. So the most important thing that people need to know that all you have to do is have about a 30-minute conversation is all I need. And then once I'm done, you can literally go on with the rest of your life and never think about this ever again.
Right.
Okay. And so the most important thing that people need to do is just be prepared. Don't let your loved one close their eyes. You look and say, oh Lord, what funeral home are we going to use? You are already behind the 8 ball.
Right.
Because I tell people when you think about you have somewhere to go and you procrastinate, you have to wear all Black. You don't have the Black outfit in your closet and you go to the mall, you're going to purchase just the first outfit that fits. And you're going to overspend. It's the same thing about the funeral service. If your loved one passes, you don't have a plan, you are a sitting duck at that funeral director's table if you are somewhere where they want to take advantage of you. You're going to overspend significantly. And then when you get to the other side and it's time for you to pay your bills or your insurance proceeds come in, and instead of you having 100,000, you have 50 because the other 50 is in the ground. You're going to be like, why did I do that?
I was just about to ask what is the ultimate consequence for not being prepared, but you actually answered it already.
Yeah, that's the ultimate. And if families would just understand, to have land, like a bunch of assets, you are not children or any other heirs or anyone in your family, any justice if you don't have a plan and you leave it with a big mess. You are literally wiping out the legacy and all the things you did for your family while you were on earth. They're not going to remember most of that stuff if they're spending money in probate trying to fight for the very thing that you left them.
Right. And I can see that. I can see part of that being fear. Would you say fear, or would you just say people being uneducated? Or is it a mix of both as to why even people would be unprepared?
I'm gonna have to be very transparent with you all. I think it's laziness.
Okay.
People don't want to take the time. They'd rather plan birthday parties, anniversaries, and dinners and hair appointments and all the things. All of those things are good and fine. But if you are not prepared and you don't leave your family a legacy, all the things you're doing are for naught. So all the time that you spent to prop yourself up to look and be a certain way in the community, but then when you pass, you're cremated with no viewing, or you're in this casket or these flowers that you wouldn't pick out for your worst enemy, but that's all that your family can afford.
Right.
Then when people walk away from that service, they're gonna be like, ooh, they weren't prepared at all. So all the things you did to look a certain way will be almost erased because you did not have a 30-minute conversation.
The pride of life Want to look very proud out front, but business not handled is definitely a big issue for sure.
Yeah.
Now I like that you said it's just not black folks. I
No.
know you can't call out specific demographics because I know you got to appeal to everybody. I understand there's the business part of it, but that is interesting to note and to find out, because that is the stereotypical thought that it's just black folks. But in actual reality, it's not. I'm sure you get different levels of races that come in that aren't prepared, right?
That's right. People feel if they have the conversation, they're gonna pass quicker.
That the myth, I've heard that one for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna die quicker if I talk about it. Now, let me say this: I don't expect that conversation to be easy. I finally sat down with my parents and my brother 3 or 4 years ago, and I cried the entire time. It is not an easy conversation, but I told my parents, I need to know what y'all want. I need to know where your paperwork is. I need to know about insurance. I need to know all these things. But as I'm making notes, my paper is full of tears, and I deal with death every day.
Right.
So I don't expect it to be an easy conversation, but it's better for you to have this conversation now than when your parents are not able to tell you what they prefer.
Right.
Or you are begging a judge for power of attorney, or you don't include the right of disposition in your power of attorney. You've been taking care of someone for 10 years, and then once they die, you have no rights over their body because the immediate next of kin are the children, and you're a cousin that the family allowed you to take care of them in their home, and you think you're going to get to have the rights after they pass. You have no rights if you're not the immediate next of kin. So there's a lot of layers to being prepared once someone passes.
And ultimately, it's just the laziness of wanting to put all of this together. But that's what you're here for, right? So to speak, to kind of navigate them through that process to make it a little bit more simplified, I'm sure.
And let me say this: me using the word lazy is not to be disrespectful to anyone. Okay, so let's be very clear. I'm very careful about what I say. However, I mean what I say. The fact that someone knows what they need to do and don't do it, if they're honest about it, they're going to say, I was just being lazy. I was procrastinating. An aspect of procrastination is what?
Laziness.
Thank you. So I'm not calling someone lazy to be disrespectful. I'm just calling it the way that you're saying it in your mind. I don't feel like doing it today. That's being lazy.
Yes.
Get it done.
Got to. Especially if you got family, and especially if you got family, grandma, grandpa, all of that type of stuff, man. That's it's the worst thing to have a funeral and it's not well put together. It's the inevitable that's going to happen, but you hate to pull up on the spot and things are just chaos. It's one of the worst as a minister and as a pastor to kind of be in that space and see it. It's a tough spot because you're already dealing with the emotions behind it. And then you got to deal with some of it. All the family ain't legit. Some of them ignorant. So you're going to have to deal with stuff. And now we got to deal with the extra stuff on top of it because business wasn't in order. So I know that could be a tough space.
And it's not fair to your mental health for those who are in charge of taking care of their loved ones, the people that are on the front row, usually the one that's sitting closest to the casket, bearing the weight and the responsibility of this person that has passed and the opinions of the family. You don't have to worry about family's opinions if it's already planned out.
Right.
Because all you have to do is say, this is what my mama wanted. And be done with it. But the stress, I've had people to come, sit in front of me, make plans. It's a stressful situation and die within a month of making plans for the person that passed before them. Because it just took them out. And then they're stressing about what they want, cremation versus burial, what color the flowers, would they have liked the programs. It can be a very stressful time if you're doing everything off the cuff. Right.
And let me say this too. And you mentioned the programs. People. The family has paid for a certain amount of programs, right? So when you go to these events, please stop taking one for 14 people that you're going to pass them out when you leave there If those people are not in attendance, leave the obituaries and the programs for people who are actually in attendance. I go to funerals and I see people take 4 or 5 because Shirley Ann gonna want one when we get back home. Shirley Ann didn't come.
Shirley
So
Ann,
so
Lord Jesus.
so don't so don't be picking up extra copies because when people actually come there and they all out, people be upset and
Now,
people be wanting. Hold on.
Grandma Bertha can't get one.
If they done already took all of them, Grandma Bertha out of luck because there ain't no more. But Mansfield Funeral Home has a creative way that you can get an additional copy, and Christy can address that. But I'm just telling you, most funeral homes, they're gonna tell you once they're gone, they're
They're
gone.
gone. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but and that's my next thing I was gonna bring up too, is I know some of these families can act up. So
Mhm.
how do you deal with folks when they when they not acting right and they're cutting up?
Listen,
In the church.
I've had some families early on run up on me, and they
Wow.
weren't mad at me. It wasn't me. I was just the only person they could lash out at because they couldn't do it with their mom or their sibling or what have you. I've had to take off my earrings with somebody one time. Like, don't let this suit fool you, baby.
Well, you mean ready with the gloves and with the Vaseline, ready to rock?
Listen. But once I took my earrings off and placed them on the desk and just kind of, they were like, you know what? It's not you, it's me. And I'm like, listen, now this was early on. Now I don't handle it like that.
Right.
I just get really quiet and I just tell them, I know that you're grieving. I am not the person that did it.
Right.
How should we pause and come back? And that's how I handle it now. But earlier on, when I've worked with other funeral homes or what have you, and there was not a certified way of handling, it was just kind of like we could just do whatever. And that's why I've learned to do Mansfield certified things so that we can teach people how to handle things properly.
Mm-hmm.
We've had people come in fighting. We've had children show up that the only child knew nothing about. We've had mistresses come and try to change things up to pretend like they're a sibling. And now we provide codes for families like spouses. Like if the person that's calling does not give us this code, we're not making a move. So we've had to go through those type of scenarios because we have a lot of high-end clients that prefer the discretion and they don't want for the outside people to know much about the inner workings. So we are known to be a very discreet group of people.
I can imagine that too. The thought that entered my mind is you probably should have a psychology degree. All of that, right? Because I know you have to deal with a lot of some unexpected, some expected. But what has kind of dug at you the most when it comes to dealing with the families and stuff like that? What do you get annoyed with the most?
When family members won't respect the immediate next of kin. So usually what'll happen, we'll have a young couple where the family, they don't really get along with the wife or they don't get along with the husband. And legally, we have to talk to the next of kin. Mm-hmm. And so they want to make these decisions, but the parents and the siblings want to manipulate and try to change. So it's like a tug of war and we're having to, mediate the process. And I'm like, listen, this is her husband. This is his wife. I can't supersede what they want, and so and they want to make us look like the bad guys. Now, we do a really good job with mediating it, but I'm like, you have to allow people their rights to plan how they prefer to plan. And every time, once we talk with them, we have, therapists that we send them to and all of that. By the time we get to the service, everything is cool. But the audacity of someone to think that they can supersede a spouse is interesting to me. Has always been interesting to me.
And I'm sure that a lot of that comes from, ignorance, or rather being unaware of what the actual process, how it goes. Some people just like to kind of go rogue, but not understanding when you have your affairs in order, there is a guideline and a direction to follow. And I think that's why it's important as well. If you know you got a few crazy family members, you might need to put some stuff in place to make sure you're good.
And people think that just because they have a peaceful family, that everything is going to be okay when they pass. Usually that's not the case. When you have money and cars and homes and land and insurance policies and annuities and all the things, I've seen siblings that have gotten along their whole life go to blows because mama left the money to the responsible one and told the responsible one to give half of it to the irresponsible one, but the responsible one's like, forget it, I don't have to because the money was up to me. And I actually had one lady, she has one house and one car. She has 2 sons. And she said, well, Christie, I'm going to leave my house and my car to my sons. And I said, well, who's going to get the house? They both have families. Are they going to live together? And she said, no. I said, why would you leave one house? You need to put in a will or trust to sell the house, and they split the proceeds, or who's going to live in the house and give the other person half of the profits from the house, who's going to split the car. So all these conversations people don't want to have because they feel like their kids will be fine. Please don't make that assumption.
No, I learned the hard way, especially with the family. And I know it personally. I know it happens. And it's crazy how people shift on you. They go from being that loving uncle or that loving auntie that you knew to something else, because I don't know whatever going on in their life. I know they're grieving, but I kind of coming up and not understanding that grieving process that people are dealing with kind of clouds your vision a little bit.
Yeah.
But it gets quite interesting, and people turn on you. I like fighting over land, fighting over houses, fighting over. And grandma was telling everybody they're your favorite anyway. So now everybody think they're their favorite. So they all get to the funeral, and then they find out Brother Leroy was the favorite. Now they all mad. So
it happens. It happens. Or they have 10 kids and they make all 10 kids beneficiaries.
Yes. My grandfather did that.
Oh my gosh. And then no one can get their money unless all 10 sign.
Yes.
So they hold them hostage. And if you don't give me half of what you're supposed to get, I'm not going to say, oh man.
My family's mad right now because we just found out, I want to say a few years ago, that there was land. My mom passed, and because there's land that comes into me and my brother's name, but there's 6 other kids on the land, and they want to sell it. They want to sell it and just get rid of it. And I'm like, this has been in the family forever. Why would we sell it? Right. But we didn't know about it until I'm 48 now, and I'm like, we never knew about it. So we just found out. And now the whole family's mad at me and my brother because we don't want to sell.
Yep.
So I know it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. So a lot of that is we're talking about money. So let's stay in that lane. Let's talk about some money. How much does the average funeral really cost?
Ooh.
So post-COVID, 2026, with tariffs being, at one point a concern, I would say on average between 8 and 15, depending on the type of casket, flowers, programs, limos, escalades, escorts. That's not even including the cemetery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's obituary sale, y'all. You got to pay for obituaries and all of that good stuff. So it costs.
All that stuff is paid for people. So again, if they run out, talk to your cousin that got four copies. Get one.
You can take a picture of it on your phone nowadays. Send it to
her. Well, Christie, can you kind of talk about what the solution that you all have at Mansfield Funeral Home for when you run out of programs or obituaries?
Certainly. I will start by saying when my staff and I are sitting with our families, we talk with them extensively about, let's think about the number of programs you're going to need, right? And so if a family says, "Oh, just give us 100," we'll say to them, "Are you sure you're good?" It's been a long time since I've had a family over 100 that didn't run out. Okay, and so and I would say probably 20% of our families have said, "I don't care if we run out. Make sure that the people sitting on the first 3 rows get them, and everybody else can get what they get."
Right.
So what we do to help them with the families is that we have a QR code. So we have the QR code where people can come in and they'll scan it, and the program will come on their phone. They can download that program to their phone, and it's flippable.
Right.
Just like you're sitting in the program. Sitting in the service. And so a lot of our families will order 300 programs and a QR code. And when they run out of the 300, then people can scan, or they'll say, have everybody scan the QR code, make sure the immediate family gets what they need, and then pass out the rest.
Right.
But what we do with that, we hand them to the ushers, because what I'm not going to do
oh Lord, here we go.
is have 50 physical programs in a church full of 200 people and determine who gets what.
Yeah.
So we let the ushers handle that, and the families are fine, the church is fine. But we were one of the first ones to do. We were doing QR codes before COVID.
Yeah.
We were doing outdoor services. We have a garden in Mansfield. We were doing outdoor services. We were doing live streaming. God told me to do all that stuff well before COVID.
This girl a full-fledged church out here. She running the whole thing like the bishop's church.
Listen,
I dig it. I love it. Make sure you put it on the live stream. Make sure we got the flower joint over here. We got my acre over here. Y'all pull up over here. I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, so while we thinking about this, so Benji, the next time you're in Dallas, Texas, we're gonna have to ride out there so you can see the facilities for sure.
For sure. I definitely got to go out and meet her as well. So
yeah.
But that's pretty dope, because I just love the structure. I'm a structure kind of guy. I be scribbling outside the lines a lot, but that's just the high that I love, a lot of structure. So I love that the structure that thus far that I've heard so far. So I love that.
Awesome.
All right. So my next question for you is, are GoFundMe funerals becoming way too common out here? Do you have to deal with any of that?
So we don't deal with GoFundMe very often, because even though GoFundMe, the platform, says that it will pay the funeral homes directly, we have found that is not always the case. And so we offer financing for families that are not able to pay cash or pay with a card or what have you. And I've negotiated with the 3 financing companies that the first 6 months are no interest, because that will give families time to file their insurance, to draw down 401ks, or however they want to pay. And some people don't want to pay cash for it right then. So they apply for the financing, and families love it. So for the GoFundMe, for my demographic, not as much. And when they do come to us, say we have a GoFundMe, I tell them, if I don't have that money deposited in my account 24 to 48 hours before the service, we'll have to move the service. And most times they're not able to do it because GoFundMe tends to be slower on the deposits.
Oh, that's interesting to know.
Yeah,
definitely. Because people definitely doing the GoFundMes out here for sure.
Yeah. And they want to come the day before and say, "Hey, let me send you my GoFundMe." That's not how it works. There's like a full process.
Right.
And I actually, one time I had a family try to assign me as the funeral home to get the money directly, and somebody went behind them and changed that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, these people are tricky. Definitely.
Man, listen, a GoFundMe funeral can be but that's part of what you were saying from earlier about the laziness aspect, not having your ducks in a row, for sure.
Yeah, though. I mean, they gotta have their ducks in a row. I mean, when it comes to grieving and money and trying to handle these things all at the same time, I think that is a huge issue, a huge red flag. But people will continue to, do what they got to do in those situations, even though they know it could cause a big rift. because guess what? When you grieving is tough and it's different for everybody.
Right.
And people have these expectations of how they're going to react or how they're going to be. Well, when so and so passed, if I'm in that position, I'm never gonna act like that. You don't know till you in it.
Until you hit it.
you,
Facts.
you don't know till you in it. So grief is a tricky thing. So that's another big reason why you should go ahead and make sure this stuff is in order before that time actually comes, because people are not going to be in a right mind. People are not going to be thinking rationally and so on and so forth. So you don't want to be putting that type of pressure on them or yourself.
You know your cousin crazy. You know your uncle crazy. You know you know the crazy auntie in the family. You already know all this, and you think she finna come up there and act right while she's grieving. If that was her big mama, and big mama probably the only one who really loved her, cooked her some greens on the side every time she pulled up when she was on that cocaine and tripping. I'm telling you. Listen,
but let me say this. Hold on. Let me say this.
You know Negroes, and like you said, it ain't just us though. I'm just saying,
Let me say this. I want to make sure people understand there's nothing wrong with GoFundMe's if that is your only way to fund the services. Okay. So nobody on this platform is shaming anybody
right.
that has done GoFundMe. What we're saying is, for there not to be a plan before GoFundMe. Now, if it's a young kid and the baby passes homicide, suicide, or what have you, that's one thing. But even then, if the parents have a plan, you can place your children on your plan up to a certain age as a rider, where it's nothing extra. So, and then even on life insurance, you can have your children as riders on a lot of these life insurances. So even then, you still should have money somewhere for your children, somewhere for yourself. Okay. But if GoFundMe is all that you have, then go and do it. Just know you're going to probably have to go through a couple more hoops to get that money drawn down.
And that's kind of interesting, because I can imagine if families don't know all of these details, they're kind of scrambling and just picking at the air, trying to figure things out. But again, having this type of information to be able to give to you is very critical. So I hope a lot of folks act on this and jump on this. And Mansfield can hook you up. I'm sure she got connects everywhere. She could make sure y'all straight. In Texas, I'm in Cali, so Forest Lawn is what they go to out here. So
okay. I have a friend there in Riverdale, Metropolitan Mortuary, excellent firm.
Yeah, see, there you go. See.
All right. So my next question is utilizing the life insurance to pay for the services a difficult process? Because again, a lot of people probably haven't had to go through it. And, that's one thing they're afraid of. They're just the processes that they're going to have to endure. Is that a difficult process?
So it's not a difficult process for us because we use a funding company. What that company will do, they will call and verify the insurance, and then they don't need a death certificate to pay it out. They'll go ahead and pay the cemetery and or funeral contract, and then they wait for the death certificate. I tell people all the time, life insurance was designed to support the living after their loved one has passed. It was never really designed to pay for funeral services. That's why most life insurance companies require a certified death certificate with the cause of passing on it. God forbid that your loved one passes and is sent to the medical examiner, and the case is pending because they're waiting on toxicology, they're waiting on tissue samples, they're waiting on the investigations. I've seen some families wait up to 6 months to get that death certificate changed from pending to have a cause of passing. So if you don't have a death certificate with a cause of passing on it, then life insurance is not going to pay out.
Now, now, what would be the reason that would take place? That 6 months to get that death certificate. What would be the significance of that? I know maybe a toxicology report, they're trying to investigate or something like that. But what would you say is the main reason for that?
Every county is different. You cannot rush them. There are some that believe in getting the results and expediting the results. I know some counties are like, we'll get it when we get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that has nothing to do with the funeral home.
Mhm.
We get a notification here in Texas when the medical examiner or the doctor has certified it at Mansfield Funeral Home. Once they have certified it, we go and physically pick up the death certificates. So our families, if the certificate is real, they have their death certificates in their hand before the service even occurs.
Right.
That's just a part of our service. But the funding company will do that service for you. They'll front the money for you, but they charge a fee. So let's say you have $100,000 policy and the funeral and the cemetery contract is $25,000. And you only have life insurance, which is fine. And we send the contracts to the funding company. They verify the $100,000 policy. We're good to go. We need $20,000 to satisfy these two contracts. They're going to charge you a percent of what they fund in order to send that money to us. Using your own money, you're spending your money to use your own money.
Wow.
Yeah. So instead of just getting 25,000 taken out of your policy, you could get anywhere between 3 to 10% taken out, depending on the funding company. So let's say it's 7%. You're losing $1,750 of your contract of your policy having to us using a funding company for you.
Wow.
Now the question people ask, why do you want to use a funding company? Don't. A lot of funeral homes have gone out of business waiting for the death certificate to come in, and then you send death certificate to the family. The family mails it into the insurance company. The insurance company sends them $100,000 check, and then they have to wait for the family to bring you $25,000.
Oh,
how many people gonna bring you $25,000 after
already buried? They holding on to that bread. They like, hold on. Well, grandma said I could have, and the Negroes like to make up stories.
Well, some do it. I have had it. It was one time years ago. I don't know what I was thinking. It was a $10,000 contract, and I did not get what I needed to get from them. It took him about 6 weeks, but he brought me back a check for $10,000. I was so nervous that my manager was going to fire me because my manager at the time did not play. But a lot of funeral homes go out of business because just imagine you have, let's say, 20 funerals and you're waiting on everybody to pay you and nobody's bringing you those checks. You've already paid for the caskets, you paid for the flowers, you paid for everything for the families, and you have nothing in your account. So no, you're not going to have that these days.
Wow, that's a great piece of information to kind of put out there because I had no idea about that. You are waiting. You're basically it's a service, so you are waiting for people to take care of their business. So and if they don't, now what have you ever been in a space where they don't, and you've had to kind of backtrack a little bit? How does that work? If you've had somebody who a funeral and they didn't pay their expenses, they didn't have their expenses. Had that ever happened to you before?
So I have a policy that families we don't provide services until our services are paid in full. And we set that expectation at the arrangement conference. And so with that being said, we don't have that issue because families fully understand from the beginning what our expectation is. And I don't know any funeral home out there anymore that doesn't have the same policy. So someone may say, dog, Mansfield, they're kind of strict. Everyone's like that because we've seen so many people go out of business not being that way.
Right. Almost like the restaurant idea. You come in, you eat and you pay, or you come in, you pay first, and then you eat when you leave type thing. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
But
totally
then
the thing about it is that when we do that, when they pay and they come for their approval viewing, they're not worried about money. They're not worrying about anything. Everything, the programs are approved, the flowers are ordered, And that's what my concierge service is about. When they walk into their approval viewing to let us know that everything is as they prefer, there's nothing else on their mind when they leave my doors. They are now ready to put the business aside and celebrate the life of their loved one. That's what service is about. If people are still stressing out about money and worrying about these things, walking into the funeral, that funeral home has not done the service that they needed to do to take care of their loved ones.
I like that. I like that.
Say that.
Simplified, simple, straight to the point. But yeah, make sure you got your stuff together, because you ain't rolling no casket up in here and having no funeral if it ain't right. So I like that.
Yes.
Facts.
Respectfully.
All right.
Yeah, respectfully.
All right.
I know that's a hard thing. I'm sorry, Ken. I know that's a hard thing to kind of address at the top, but it's a need. It's necessary, right?
No, it's not hard at all.
Alleviates.
It's not hard at all. This is where compassion and the process, which is what we start from the first time. From the first time they call us to pick up their loved one, we establish that trust. Then we've got you. Right. We got you from this point forward. When we bring in that contract, we tell them straight up, this is the contract. Are you comfortable with this amount? If not, what can we do to make you more comfortable? If so, when do you plan to pay? Well, when do I need to pay? Well, services are Friday. Today is Monday. Payment is required 48 hours before the service. Does that align with your ability to pay? It does. They walk out and they're fine with it.
Okay. I like that. Order is a great thing. I promise you it is.
Yes.
Yo. All right. Well, as the old saying goes, funerals aren't expensive, but being unprepared is. That's what's expensive across the board.
Yes.
So let's get into some questions about the service aspect of it again. I want the people to understand how they can control how they're remembered, because I think that's an important thing that people need to hear. Again, I know you talked about it a little bit earlier, but can you talk a little bit more about that?
You can control how you prefer to be remembered by two ways. You can either write it down and tell someone where those thoughts are. Don't just write it down and throw it somewhere where no one knows where it is. I have families that come in and they pre-plan, which means they just tell me that they just get everything out of their head. And then as they go along and they hear a song, they'll text or email me and say, hey, Christie, I love this song. I want this to be played before the eulogy. Or I heard this new song, replace this song. So that's pre-planning, where you just kind of put it on paper and you can bring it to me and I'll make you your own file, right? Or you can establish a pre-need policy, which is a burial policy, where you can put it and execute it on a pre-need contract, which means you're locking in the price at that time.
The importance of that, what she was saying, was to put the pre-need, you lock in whatever the pricing is at that time, which is important, because as we can see, stuff is just getting more and more expensive and it's not getting cheaper. So
that's a fact.
It would definitely behoove you, as the old folks used to say, behoove you to go ahead and take care of the pre-need aspect of it, so you don't have to worry about it on the back end. Because as my grandfather used to say, you spend your life paying bills and then they give your family a bill at the end. So in order for you to make sure that everything across the board is taken care of the way you would like for it to be taken care of, you need to go ahead and set up a pre-need. And then you also save money, right? Because as I just said, being unprepared costs everybody, not just
that laziness aspect she mentioned to a degree. And I know that's the kind of word we're harping on a little bit, and it might be a little harsh, but at the end of the day, this is something it's inevitable. It's going to happen. And the more you procrastinate, the tougher it's going to be on your loved ones. And so I can imagine, though, again, having somebody who's grieving, especially if they loved you, if you was, if you was their right hand, wife, husband, whatever you want to call it, and now they have to deal with this process that isn't put together, isn't well, taken care of. It's a great strain. I can imagine the strain on an individual and what they have to deal with when these affairs aren't put in order. So I can imagine that's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely all crazy because I'm gonna tell you what you don't want to do is pass away and your family got you in there with some kind of outfit on that you know they know that you wouldn't have that outfit on. Have you up in there with a turtleneck on. You know what I'm saying?
That
Then people
turtleneck.
that turtleneck, you know what I'm saying? People they have you in the casket with a turtleneck on, man, and you like, listen, I wouldn't have had no turtleneck on in my lifetime. So why
Ooh,
y'all
man.
put me in a turtleneck in here? See, if you don't want to wear a turtleneck when you pass, you got to get your stuff set up ahead of time, set everything up, get your pre-need, lock in your price, and then that way they won't have you in there with a turtleneck on. And
Yeah, you won't be
people
you won't be
singing
looking
turtleneck,
bad
people singing the Tyrese turtleneck song at your funeral.
at your funeral. You
What did
gotta
I
make
walk
sure
in
you.
on?
Yeah, we were just getting the people, you know what I'm saying, primed up because you were talking about the pre-need and everything, and you got to be prepared. So one of the things is what people
You got to be looking fly in the
the
casket.
clothes people wear in the casket,
You
right? That's a
saying?
big thing, right? Because my mom has already told us she wants to wear this color suit and she wants her fingernails to be like this. So you want all those things, like you said, jot it down so that there's a written record of it. So
Right,
that's one less thing people got to argue about because you've already expressed how you wanted it and you wrote it. So it's in
right,
writing.
right.
So,
Yeah.
but
Ain't
the
no changing
clothing,
it. We there.
the clothing is big time because I don't want to wear a turtleneck. So don't put me in a turtleneck. And then, for people, just sidetrack a little bit. There was a verses that happened this past week with Tank and
That
Tyrese came out
turtleneck.
with a turtleneck,
That
and Tank
turtleneck.
made up a song on the spot called Turtleneck, and he was
That
missing.
turtleneck.
He was roasting his turtleneck. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. But I'm telling you, it's worth the time you spent. Great song, but the turtleneck song went viral. So you don't want to have a turtleneck on, people, in your casket. I'm telling you.
I mean,
I've never seen anybody buried in a turtleneck. That's another story. But
But we do outfit changes. I mean, we changed one person 3 times,
oh
oh,
wow.
and the family loved it. But that's what they had in their pre-plan. They had the outfits already laid out. They had them labeled. We knew exactly how they wanted it, and it was a beautiful tribute.
I like that. I like that. But
full
that's
full,
again,
full
that's part of
casket,
having the thing in order.
Yep,
full open casket.
it was a full couch. Yep,
No. Oh yeah,
Oh,
I'm about that full couch. You know
it
what I'm
was a full
saying? Let
couch
me,
casket.
make
Yeah,
sure I get the vernacular right.
make sure I
that's
Full
got my
right.
couch.
make sure I got my loafers on. Make sure you know what I'm saying.
Your
Make
Weegens,
sure
you
it's
gonna
straight.
you
Yeah,
you
yeah,
gonna
yes sir,
you
yes sir. Make sure we got the suede. You know what I'm saying. The patent leather shoes on. Make sure we straight. Bury me with it all in there. You know what I'm
Laid
talking about.
up.
Make sure we say yeah. You know what I'm saying. Don't have me like this now. You know what I'm saying. I don't like to be bunched up. Make sure my hands is out to the side. You know what I'm
Okay, you
saying.
want
Make
them to
sure
the
we all right.
side. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, to the side. Yeah, I want to, make
that
sure
man
I'm
said he
fly. Make sure I'm
that
fly.
man said he don't want to be in this b-boy stance.
Yeah,
He
you know what I'm
want
saying? No, 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 no. I mean, if you got to cross my legs, go home and do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't
No, we
know,
ain't gonna
but
do that.
yeah, yeah. All right, there we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make
all
sure we
right.
good. Make sure we all right. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Dr. Christie, if someone is watching this right now, what should they do this week to get their affairs in order? If you could just give them something brief, what should they do to get their affairs in order?
First, take a deep breath and tell yourself that you are okay, everything is okay, and you're doing this for yourself and your family. Once you get your breathing under control, call the funeral home that you trust. If that's Mansfield Funeral Home, then give us a call. If it's not, that's fine, but call them and make a plan to sit down with them to get your thoughts out on paper, ask them to give you a quote, and then determine if it is within your budget to lock in the price and start a plan.
Yeah, I dig that. I dig that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, one of my own sayings, and because I'm into writing movies and stuff right now, say I'm in that mode, y'all.
You
Um,
better.
if you don't write your final scene, somebody else will. And so this is what's happening, right? You got an opportunity to fight to write your final scene, And then if you don't do it, you can't be mad looking down saying, man, why they got me with them shoes on? You
With
you
that
you ain't
turtleneck.
let them know. You ain't let them know. You know what I'm saying?
With
They
that
got you.
turtleneck.
And they know you ain't like no brown suit. Got you in there with a brown suit on and a
Oh
turtleneck.
no.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah,
Make sure
yeah.
it's red. Make sure it's red. Make sure it's red.
Red. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
red.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Make sure
Okay.
it's red.
Okay,
Make
Benji.
sure it's red. Yeah. The
I
whole thing. Make sure red everywhere. Make sure it's red everywhere. Red
I
everywhere.
so before we wrap up, I want to get a little personal. I
Okay.
want to get a little personal, Christy. My first question is, do you fear death?
Absolutely not. I don't even think about it.
Right.
Because I've probably seen every aspect of it. And when it's my time, it's my time. The only thing I fear is that when I do close my eyes for the last time, that I've done something that has not pleased God, or I haven't repented for something that
Mm,
didn't please God.
I
okay.
dig that. I dig that.
Okay. That's understandable. All right. So my next question up is, what kind of legacy do you want to leave?
My goal and my heart's desire is for people to say she did all she could to educate people about the industry, and the industry is better because she was in it.
I
Okay.
like that.
Okay. She's knocking them out. She's knocking
She's
these
stuck him
questions
out.
out.
She's knocking him out.
Look at that. Look at
Yeah.
that. All right. So lastly, now this is one of the questions that I think people are really, really interested in, because this is one I'm really, really interested in for sure. So lastly, how do you mentally protect yourself doing this day in, day out?
So now, I do a lot of meditation.
Hmm.
I have learned to say no and mean it and not feel bad about it. And that's in any of my personal business, vendors. If I haven't prayed about it and God has not told me to do it, the answer is no. And if people are not patient with me praying about it, the answer is no.
Hmm.
Now, before I got to it took me, I've only been in this space for about a year and a half. Beforehand, I was saying yes to everybody and everything,
Hmm.
trying to serve everyone, to the point where I developed type 1 diabetes.
Hmm.
And, type 1 is usually you're born with it.
Mhm.
You don't develop it in your 40s. And it was
Right.
because I was overstressed, I was overeating, I was not taking care of myself, and my body literally shut down.
Hmm.
So once I woke up in the ICU and could no longer walk or talk, I promised God that when He got me out of that ICU, back home with my child who's now in college, and back to my business, that I will honor Him by honoring my temple
Right.
first. And so that's how I deal. And I have an amazing staff.
Right. Right.
I have an amazing staff.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that.
Yeah, the staff is amazing. A lot of good people over there, man. I'm telling you, the first service that I was able to serve with you all, I had so much fun that day. I know it sounds crazy, y'all, when y'all hear somebody saying they served
They
at a
had
funeral and
fun
it
at a
was
funeral and
fun.
they had
But the
fun. Yeah.
people were so nice. Like like it was just like it was cool. And the family that we served that day, they were so nice. And it was ironic that it was a couple of the family members that we helped serve that day. I actually knew them. So it's one of those things. You run into people, you're in a circle with people, and you realize that even though we're all different, we're all the same.
Right.
Yes.
When those times come in our lives, we just want as much support as we can possibly get, and we just want people around us to support us and love us and show love. So you know what I'm saying, that's what Mansfield Funeral Home does. I'm not being partial, y'all. I'm telling you the truth, because I've also had the opportunity to also observe Mansfield Funeral Home on the other side, as my one of my close friends, he had two loved ones pass away recently,
Hmm.
kind of close in proximity, like months apart.
Hmm.
And my suggestion to them off the top of my head when I talked to them was, hey, call Christy, call Dr.
Right.
Christy,
Right.
and make sure that you have a conversation with her. Even if you don't use them, just call and talk to her, because I'm pretty sure she could steer you in the right direction. because again, when you're grieving, you don't you don't your mind's all over the place.
Right.
So, but they served both of that family twice, and I observed, what I'm saying, from that side of it, and I saw her serve in excellence, as she says, and she did so much amazing stuff that people were like, okay, Ken, be honest, is she really like this, or is she just like this because she knows us? Like,
Mm,
like what's going on? I'm like, no, she's really like this. Like,
right.
she really goes above and beyond to serve the families that walk through those doors. So that's one big thing about it. And that's why, again, I don't mind, serving with them, because I know that it's pure.
Yeah.
I know that the actions behind it, the feelings behind it, the love behind it, the support behind it all is pure. It's coming from a good place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I like
Thank
that. I
you.
like
And
that.
I'm excited to announce that we are coming to Dallas County.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We
I
definitely
dig
gonna
it.
need more information on that, because, like I said, hey, we definitely want to steer people in the right direction, because especially when it's, those times in life, we want people to be taken care of in the right way. And yeah, so we definitely need to have that conversation. So when that information comes out, let us know. We'll share it.
Perfect.
Sh-
Thank you.
Shout out
Yeah.
to the black-owned businesses representing
Yes.
to the maximum degree. We dig that. We love that. We love that representation. So we appreciate that for sure.
It's my
I,
honor.
No
Yes.
doubt. All right. So as we get ready to close, I just want to say we spend so much time planning birthdays, vacations, and parties, but we avoid the one thing that's guaranteed for all of us, right? If today's conversation didn't wake you up, nothing will. Get your affairs in order, as Christy said. make make it a little bit easier on your family. Have that conversation, and most importantly, this is about protecting your family. You want your family to be able to get through this time, and you know planning it ahead of time might be scary for some, but it's going to be very helpful on the back end. So so make sure y'all take care of that. Dr. Christie, is there anything in closing that you would like to leave the audience with? And also, please let them know how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah. So first, I want to thank you all for having me on the show
Yes.
and praying for your co-host emergency that she had.
Yes.
Definitely. I just want everyone to know that this life that we're living, live it to the fullest. And when it's time for you to go, make sure that you've prepared so that when you leave those behind that you've loved so deeply, they can continue to have fond, grateful memories about you while you were here on earth. And, at Mansfield Funeral Home, we believe in serving in excellence. We're in the DFW Metroplex. However, we have families calling us from all over and internationally asking us, are the plans that they have right? What can they do differently? So we are an open book, an open door, and a transparent service for all people, no matter if you're here or not. If you are here and you have planned with another funeral home and you no longer aligned with the culture and the values of that funeral home, Texas allows you to transfer for free with no penalty. You don't even have to go back to that funeral home. Just come to us and we'll take care of you. And if you just need someone to talk to, we have therapists that we can recommend, that we've vetted, that we can recommend. We are here for you, not just when your loved one has passed. To reach out to us, you can go to our website at mansfieldfuneralhomes.com. We're on all social media platforms, and our direct number is 817-453-3009. And you can always reach out to Ken. He can bring you to contact with me directly as well. God bless you.
Yeah. I dig it. I dig it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All that information, make sure y'all jot it down, remember it. You know what I'm saying? Commit it to your memory, all that good stuff. And just like she said, she's there also to, if you have questions, take advantage of these things, y'all, because I promise you, when that time comes in your life to bury a loved one, or somebody has to bury you, you don't want people to be asked a bunch of questions then that they could already have answers to already. So
Yeah.
go ahead and take care of that business now.
That's right.
All right. All right. Benji Banks, the man, the brand. Talk to the people before we get up out of here, man.
Man, listen, it's a lot going on. When you think about that, people are passing pretty much every day. And I can imagine Christie being in this field, she sees this, going on all the time. But again, I believe the overall theme is to be prepared, right? Don't put your grieving family in a position to where they have to grieve more and stress more and all of that type of stuff. So that's kind of dealing with our physical, and we're leaving out here. While you are here, though, on this side of life, take care of yourself, man. Take care of your body. Take care of yourself. Make sure you drink your water, do what you need to do. Take your supplements, as Ken was saying, eat your vegetables, do all that good stuff. I know the hustle is real. I'm a hustler. Christie's a hustler. You know what I'm saying? We know the hustle is real. You got to get up and you got to grind and you got to do your thing. But make sure you take care of yourself, man. You only get one body. And once that joint break down, that's a wrap. So take care of yourself, man. Make sure you're good out here in these streets.
All right. All right. All right, y'all. Well, you know what I'm saying? We hope that you gained a wealth of knowledge tonight, got a lot of information from this episode. We appreciate you tapping in with us. So you already know you've been rocking with the Fiyah Session. There's Trisha Michelle, Benji Banks, and Big Ken. Thanks again, our special guest, Dr. Christie K. Salute to you. And we appreciate all the things that you supplied for us today, all that knowledge, all that good stuff. Y'all reach out in contact with her if you have any questions. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe on all social media platforms so you don't miss the next session. Until next time, we'll holler at y'all. Stay lit. It's the Fiyah Session. Peace.